Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
This is the Closing Bell on the Stock Movers Report. The companies making moves at the close of U.S. trading with Carol Massar, Tim Stenovec, Romaine Bostick, and Scarlet Fu.
We had some fairly broad-based buying today. Scarlet, 332 names in the S&P 500 to the upside, 167 losing ground for unchanged, at least as we settle in here.
All right, and let's take a look at what's leading the gains today. It's really a mix of cyclicals and, of course, big tech. You have materials and industrials, each gaining about 1%. Consumer discretionary up about 0.8%. And then on the flip side, energy lower by 0.4%. Communication services moderately lower.
All right, let me get to some of the individual gainers, if I may. And I feel like these are perhaps all things in Romaine's life, but we'll have to see if that's true. Let's start with Deckers, because that is your number one gainer in the S&P 500. I definitely see some Uggs and some Hokas in his closet. Stock was up as much as 20% intraday, finishing the day with a gain of about 11%. But as I said, number one gainer in the S&P. Net sales for Ugg and Hoka surpassing analyst estimates in the fiscal first quarter. Ugg sales rising about 19%. Hoka sales increasing roughly 20%. Bloomberg Intelligence, our own analyst, saying that UGG's momentum further validates their conviction about the brand's health, and Hoka outperform expectations as new product upgrades fuel demand. All right, also check out Romaine's home. You might find a Yeti or two in there. We have that stock up about 5.6% here at the close after a Betaville uncooked alert says the outdoor products maker may have attracted some takeover interest. You might remember back in May that the stock rose after Jefferies said that the consumer products company stands out as an attractive target for private equity. The report, though, in today's trade, citing people following the situation, identity of a potential buyer is unclear, though some of the people suggest a PE firm may be interested, so maybe a private equity play. And then
wouldn't it be great if, like, Deckers just bought them? You carry around.
What are the synergies?
Your big, gigantic mug with your
hydration capsule.
Actually, I think people who wear Uggs probably carry Yetis. Can I make that assumption?
No, they carry like Stanley cups, right?
All right. One more thing that might be in Romaine's driveway, a Tesla. Probably not. I'm thinking you're not a Tesla guy.
Who has a driveway?
Are you a Tesla guy?
Well, first of all, yeah, I live in Manhattan, so no, I don't have a driveway.
If you have a driveway, then I'm going with you to the Hamptons.
Yeah.
If you got a driveway.
You have a driveway for a Tesla or garage because you need to charge it.
And who drives in the city? Come on.
All right, we all drive in the city. I drive in the city. All right, all right. So Tesla was a top gainer. Number two gainer in the NASDAQ 100. Stock up about 3.5%. We know it was sold off yesterday following Tesla's report that came late Wednesday and Elon's warnings. Analysts, though, raising price targets for Tesla. Since it reported earnings, 8 changed price targets. The average change was up about 3%. 5 raised price targets by an average of almost 9%.
Wow.
3 cut their price targets by an average of 7%.
Wow.
And 4 analysts downgraded their investment recommendation. None
All right, Tim, I hope yours are better.
Hey,
I actually got the 2 worst performers on a percentage basis
Wow.
in the S&P 500. Let's start with Intel. Shares down 8.5%. You guys know what happened yesterday after the bell. Intel CEO Lip Bhutan sparked concerns that he's more focused on cost cutting than restoring the chip maker's technological edge. Check out what he said on the call. Quote, "I do not subscribe to the belief that if you build it, they will come." He was referring to future spending and the spending under his predecessor just over the last couple of years in building these facilities, some of which they stopped building and they slowed down construction.
I am curious, though. I know everyone's taking that as a negative, but is that potentially maybe a positive? I know there's been so much talk about how all these other companies are just spending all this money willy-nilly and not really seeing a return from it. Maybe a more pragmatic approach
I feel like Ian King said you got to spend, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, think about this. This is Intel. This was like the king of chip making back in the day.
Yeah.
It's a cyclical business, but Intel has completely missed out on this cycle. I mean, yesterday, this was before the bell came, before the earnings. This was a $100 billion company. It's now about a $90 billion company. The question is, what does it look like in its next iteration, and how does it compete with the big players out there?
I mean, the Bears would say that comment sounds like he's managing for a decline or through a decline rather than managing for a recovery, right? Or for growth.
I mean, that's what and that's why I think you saw the reaction today. So we'll have to wait and see. Remember, he's still a new CEO. So he's got some time for a turnaround. But we've been saying that about the last two CEOs as well. I think it's fair to say. Hey, also Charter Communications, this was the worst performer in the S&P 500 today. It had its worst single day ever, down 18.5%. This after the company said it lost 111,000 residential high-speed internet customers in the quarter that ended at the end of June. It was more than analysts had predicted. They're facing pressure from the rise of 5G from mobile companies and also fiber home internet offerings as well. And finally, taking a look at Pinnacle Financial Partners, down 12%, along with Synovus, down 12.5%. This after the companies agreed to an all-stock transaction valued at $8.6 billion. It'll combine these two banks in the U.S. southeastern market, but investors not liking the looks of this, at least today.
All right, let's take a quick look at yields. We did actually see some movement there, relatively modest movement to be sure, but to the downside, basically about a 1 basis point across the board here. And it gets to this idea of a little bit of stasis right now going on in the yield space as everyone really tries to game out, guys, where we go next with rates, particularly in light of all the pressure from the White House on Jay Powell, which we all were here live on air yesterday.
Sometimes with hard hats, sometimes without.
Well, the hard hats just was like, chef's kiss. Honestly. It's the best television we've had in years.
That moment in time is just like seared.
Yeah, absolutely.
Memory forever.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.